What happens when the DM doesn't care? Let me describe the situation. A couple years ago, I joined a D&D 5e campaign as the newest person in a group that had been playing together since a previous campaign which had just ended. One person was a close friend who introduced me, the other my then GF, and another was the DM's sister. There was also a fourth party member who's not really relevant to what happened. So, off the bat, a couple of things about the DM I noticed right off, but didn't really bother me. She was really difficult to read, had this way of being condescending pretty often, but it could be hard to tell for sure. I wasn't really certain that she actually liked any of us, weird as that sounds, except for her sister. More than once, about multiple people, when someone wasn't present, she didn't hold back on making snide comments about them. At the same time, she didn't seem to have many friends, and sometimes seemed really depressed. I chalked this all up to it just being how she is. I'm a notoriously really chill guy, and didn't really care. However, I mention all this because in light of her weirder traits, I wonder if I should have seen it coming. So anyway, we have this campaign that lasts for months and culminates in the party infiltrating a castle to find more info on the BBEG, a blue dragoness who takes the guise of a cloud giant to stir up trouble. To spare a lot of the detail, our party had zero idea that this was the final dungeon. There was little warning, no more lead up than any other dungeon we'd found, and abandoning several plot threads we thought would be addressed. Well, we enter the final chamber, and surprise, it's the ancient blue dragon. Well, poop. She kills off the entire party in minutes. As a dexterous monk, I'm the sole survivor, and I scramble to hide and try to figure out if my character would flee or succumb to death alongside the corpses of his friends. And the whole time, our DM seems bored. Our party was in shock. They were silent and both surprised and heartbroken at the unexpected TPK. My girlfriend and friend genuinely believed we were about to start an adventure in the astral plane or something, until it became increasingly clear that the DM was just done with this story. So as we're dealing with that, DM cheerfully breaks the stunned silence by pulling up some pre-prepared tables she's made for our next campaign. It really, genuinely felt like she had 100% planned the TPK, whether or not she had, since she had all this stuff magically on hand. She wants a new campaign about the Feywild, and she wants us to all roll new character races and classes on a D4 from a random list she's specifically chosen for each of us. Now I should mention, in the previous campaign we all rolled D100s to randomly decide race and class. We rolled twice and picked whatever result we liked best. That was fun. I'd never done something like it before. But now, in light of what had just happened, I was pretty sour on the idea of once again having no control. But since everyone else begrudgingly went with it, I obliged. Now we get into the meat of it. I roll a Yuan-Ti Bard, my then GF rolled a Rogue, but another character rolled Rogue. We, including then GF, didn't want two Rogues, so DM let her roll again. Wizard. Tabaxi Wizard. Okay, so DM hands me Volo's, new at the time and I hadn't read it yet, and opens the page to the NPC portion of Yuan-Ti character building and hands it to me. I quickly realize this stuff is too OP to be a player character, point it out to her, and she shrugs. I realize her mistake after reading the background lore of Yuan-Ti and deciding a backstory and appearance. A snakehead, which she let me keep when I reconstructed properly my character's build. Given what I'd read, I decided he had formerly been a typical people-eating arrogant snake fella, but one who secretly grappled with experiencing emotions, which was the real drive for going out into human society. I wasn't sure where that left me on the alignment scale. I hate the alignment scale. I eventually wrote neutral evil before handing over my sheet and leaving, figuring I'd deal with it later. Couple days later, DM messaged me. She'd noticed on my sheet and wanted to let me know that I can't be evil in the campaign. Cool, no worries. I agreed to switch it, and just to fill her in, explained what my rationale had been based on his backstory. Literally, word for word, telling her I was just letting her know the character idea I had and was interested in input. She responds, to my surprise, by acting like I'm an idiot. She gets really angry and tells me condescendingly that evil characters can't be in a party of neutral characters unless their ultimate plan is to backstab them all, which she won't allow. I want to emphasize that at this point I've told her at least twice that I'm switching my alignment and have no issue with it. I honestly don't know why or how we're having an argument about this, and I go quickly from gently disagreeing, since evil characters can have friends or other motivations than just backstabbing for the lulz, to just trying to shut it down. But it's like she doesn't want it to end unless I agree with her. The whole thing was weird and annoying, but I brush it off afterwards. Then comes the campaign. The whole plot, as it turns out, is that our characters are transported to the Feywild and have to find their way back home. For some of our characters, I don't even know why they would necessarily want to return, but it was the only thing driving the plot, so we all rolled with it. Except the Feywild, as it turns out, is full of zany and unpredictable shenanigans. It's cute and often funny, but it also makes it impossible to plan or know how you're supposed to solve a puzzle when the world operates on crazy logic. We often felt aimless and ended up just kinda wandering around. Meanwhile, the kitty wizard has taken to using her feline stealth to steal components and coin, fairly successfully. My snake bard went College of Glamour, and I focused mostly on spells that felt in character, so a lot of control and necromancy. Eventually we find an important NPC who was mentioned to be powerful enough to transport us, after heading his way with little issue, and he sends us home. In retrospect, I wonder if she was running out of ideas, or had maybe just expected it to be actually harder for us. What I do know is that after that session, then GF gets a long ranting text accusing her of sabotaging DM's game, as some sort of revenge for the DM arguing with me. I should mention that in addition to being hurt and upset, she was genuinely confused because I'm not sure that I'd even thought to mention that argument to her. Then GF tries to be admirably reasonable, reminding her among other things that she's known her for years, and surely DM doesn't really think she'd do something so petty and ridiculous. DM's response, "I guess I don't know you that well." I got furious. DM is still ranting and is growing increasingly abusive, accusing then GF of using her wizard as a rogue, and if she had wanted to be a rogue, she should have just stuck with it. Mentions that I am barely playing a bard correctly with all my necromancy. All this, and DM texted me like 2 days prior, asking if I and my GF might want to hang out with her and her own GF, which we'd agreed to. Immediately after this ranting, DM texts the whole group to tell everyone the campaign is over, in a really terse way. The others were surprised, but I was kinda relieved, since I had already decided I wasn't coming back either way. DM then texts me, maybe the next day, I don't really remember, telling me she thinks I'm genuinely a cool person I hopes we can keep in touch / still hang out. I tell her she should apologize to DenGF, who didn't deserve any of that, and she disappears from the convo. Way later, she eventually does send a sideways apology to DenGF. It was, in my opinion, way too understated and way too late. But DenGF is and was a kind person. I did message DM afterwards, kind of telling her I appreciated it or something like that, but she ghosted me and has since dodged a bullet, I guess. I since ran a campaign with my friend who'd been my initial tie to that group, being one of my players. It was a huge party, ran 2 years, and was a massive success and a blast. Much better than any revenge. Overall, it sounds like the DM was definitely going through some things, but I could not tell you what. Sometimes you can see the red flags coming a mile ahead, but other times they are just not that obvious. I would say that a bored DM's TPK, followed by immediate character replacements, would be a pretty big red flag. But that's just me. What do you all think about this situation?